Think about your family tree for a second. Your great-grandma had like 8 kids. Your grandma had 5. Your mom had 2, maybe 3. And us, millennials and Gen Z, a lot of us are saying absolutely not. And that's not just a generational thing. That's a 200-year pattern hitting a breaking point. And it didn't happen by accident. Let's start with the obvious. Money. Because if you ask most millennials and Gen Z why they're not having kids, it comes down to that. And honestly, they're not wrong. It costs over $300,000 to raise a child in this country, birth to 18, before college even enters the conversation. We're the generations that graduated into a recession, got buried in student loan debt, watched housing prices double, and are now raising our own cost of living on wages that haven't moved in decades. We didn't get the economy our parents had. We just got the bill for it. Our ancestors had 8 kids because back then children were survival, right? More hands meant more life. We don't live in that world anymore, but nobody built anything to replace it. Now, here's where it gets sinister, and I need you to stay with me. For most of the 20th century, in over 30 states, the US government was forcibly sterilizing people that it decided were unfit to reproduce in hospitals and prisons and federally funded clinics without consent, sometimes without even telling them what was actually happening. North Carolina alone approved 7,600 sterilizations between 1929 and 1974. California sterilized over 20,000 people. Poor women, disabled women, immigrant women. Women who went in for one thing and came out permanently changed without ever agreeing to it. And then there's a conversation that nobody really wants to have. Something shifted in how our generation see our own lives. Hustle culture told us to build. Social media showed us videos of people living and thriving, child-free, and watching people around us struggling to raise kids with no village, no support, no safety net. Parenthood started feeling less like a calling and more like a trap. So we optimized, we built careers, we built brands, we traveled, and kids got moved to the maybe later list. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their life, but I do think that something got lost quietly in all of that. The idea that children are legacy, that every single person alive exists right now because somebody before them, through war, famine, poverty, grief, chose to keep going, and you are that choice. The question is, what choice are you making? So why don't we have as many kids as our ancestors? The economy made it a luxury we can't afford. The government spent decades deciding who was even allowed to reproduce. And the culture started treating children like a liability instead of a legacy. All 3 are true at the same time. This isn't about judgment. It's about being real that the answer to this question is a lot bigger than personal decision. And it always was.